The Senate will be attentive to the clerk.
Thank you, Madam President. The Committee on Judiciary, to which was referred, House Bill 1442 FN, an act limiting the use of certain facilities on the basis of sex and redefining the term gender identity. Having considered the same, the committee recommends that the bill is ought to pass with an amendment by a vote of 3-2. Senator Abbas for the committee.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Madam President. I move House Bill 1442-FN ought to pass with amendment. HB 1442-FN, as amended by the House, limits the use of certain facilities on the basis of sex, redefines gender identity in statute, and applies those definitions across areas including public accommodations, schools, and correctional facilities. The bill seeks to establish statutory clarity regarding the use of sex-specific spaces and the application of gender identity protections. The bill, as amended, narrows the approach by replacing these provisions with the law against discrimination and clarifying that classification based on biological sex is permitted in certain limited circumstances, including in multi-user facilities, athletics, and certain institutional settings, such as classifications serve a compelling state interest. I respectfully ask that you join members of the Senate Judiciary Committee in voting HB 1442-FN ought to pass with amendment. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The bill is now on second reading. The first order of business is the committee amendment. Is there any discussion on the committee amendment? Okay. Seeing none, the question is on the adoption of the committee amendment. Are you ready for the question? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. No. The ayes have it, and the committee amendment is adopted. The bill is on second reading. Is there any further discussion or amendment? Senator Altschiller.
Thank you, Madam President. Here we are again. I want to talk about what this bill actually does, because the title says limiting the use of certain facilities, but what it really does is something far more calculated and insidious. New Hampshire expanded its civil rights protections to include gender identity, and we did that deliberately, with purpose and with pride. This bill doesn't repeal that protection outright. It can't, and its sponsors know it. Instead, it carves a new definition directly into RSA 21:3, the most foundational housekeeping section of our statutory code, and then uses that definition to gut the protection that we extended. It's a backdoor repeal. It's discrimination hiding behind a dictionary entry. And what a dictionary entry it is. This bill introduces New Hampshire law to the SRY gene. The SRY gene, a piece of genetic coding that even its own discoverer, Andrew Sinclair, the scientist who found it and developed the testing for it, has said it should not be used to classify human sex. Andrew Sinclair has said publicly he is opposed to the use of the SRY test to determine biological sex in women's sports. He argues that the test is overly simplistic, his words, and the approach does not apply a reliable measure of...
I make a point of order.
Oh, of course you do.
The Speaker is addressing the underlying bill. We did a replace all amendment, so I don't think that the comments are relevant to the bill at this point.
Thank you, Senator Abbas. So noted, Senator Altschiller. So continue, please, but speak to the bill as amended.
This bill isn't about science. If it were, we'd follow it. This bill, as amended, is about obsession. A sustained, relentless, burning obsession with the bodies and private lives of a tiny minority of our neighbors. We are now, by my count, many dozens of bills deep into this obsession. Bathrooms, locker rooms, prisons, sports, school curricula, birth certificates, pronouns. And today we are at it again. And what is the compelling state interest here? Well, we're told that it was safety and privacy, but I ask my colleagues, where is the bill with the for the constituent who's cutting her blood pressure medication in half because she can't afford a full prescription? Where's the compelling state interest for the young person who can't move out of their parents' house because we haven't built any housing?
Point of order.
Point of order, Senator, please, your comments are to the bill as amended. You're bringing in other things that are not part of the bill, so thank you.
The stated compelling state interest with this bill does not address the senior who can't afford her ballooning property tax bill.
Point of order, Madam
Here we
Chair.
go.
Point of order, again, Senator Altshuler, please keep your comments to the underlying bill, not you're bringing in all other types of things.
Duly noted.
Yes,
It is our point on this bill that we have more compelling issues to address, and I believe that's the senator's argument about this bill.
okay.
Thank you.
I
May I continue?
understand that, but we've had numerous objections. So I don't have a problem with the good senator saying there are other compelling things we need to do, but we're getting a list of things that she believes should be done. And I don't believe that it's appropriate for this particular bill.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So as a clarification, Madam President, are we now to never speak to things that could be related to a bill? And are lists defined as 2 or more, 3 or more, 1 or more? I think we went through this with being definitive about parliamentary inquiry. So if we are going to police the First Amendment rights of my district speaking on this floor, I want specifics about what you are telling the rest of the Senate we can and cannot say. Are
Move to
lists 2
recess.
or more?
Okay, Senator Gray requests a 2-minute recess. for an introduction of guests.
President, I want you all to stand and help me welcome the students from the 4th grade class of Canterbury Elementary. Good morning, guys. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Do you? Yeah.
1 second.
Okay. We are discussing the, discussing House Bill 1442 and the motion of ought to pass as amendment. Senator Altshuler was speaking. Would you like to resume speaking, Senator? Thank you.
President.
Yes,
And
please.
I'm ready with my packets here, just in case we have any more issues. All right, make no mistake, this bill contemplates a world where someone's right to use a restroom can be challenged. This is not safety legislation. This is surveillance legislation dressed in the language of biology, and it won't survive. The previous iterations didn't. The governor has made that clear. In fact, she has already vetoed this exact language. And what it will do is cost us. It already has cost us in division, in strife, and it's going to cost us in court time, in legal fees. And it sends a signal to every transgender resident in this state who chose New Hampshire that they are not welcome. And we heard from them in committee. We keep hearing from them because this keeps coming up. A person who left the state came to the committee and said, I chose New Hampshire. I came here because my state, my home state, failed me. I looked at where I could go, and New Hampshire, the live free or die state, was a place I thought I could raise my family. They researched where they could live. They chose us. They built their family here, and they are a public servant and have been serving for 4 years. That is the kind of Granite Stater we want. This bill gets in the way of that kind of story. This body just passed a bullying law with a private right of action. I am certain that the Granite Staters targeted by this bill would love a private right of action against legislators who continuously bully them with legislation to make their lives more difficult. It is shameful. New Hampshire has expanded civil rights because we recognize that live free or die is not supposed to be just a slogan on your license plate. It's not supposed to be live free or die if you're in the majority. This bill says otherwise. It says we will extend you rights with one hand and we will snatch them away with another. I'll say it again. You can't do just a little bit of discrimination and call yourself a just person. That is not how it works. I will be voting no on the ought to pass motion, and I urge my colleagues to look at their fellow Granite Staters with humanity and recognize that your targeting of a very small minority speaks volumes about character. Choose wisely. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is on the adoption of ought to pass as amended on House Bill 1442. Are you ready for the question?
Roll call, Madam President.
Okay, a roll call has been requested by Senator Altshuler, seconded by Senator Innes. The Senate will be attentive to the clerk.
Yep. Thank you, John. Senator Rochefort.
Yes.
Senator Lang.
Yes.
Senator McConkey's excused. Senator Waters.
No.
Senator Prentice.
No.
Senator Gray.
Yes.
Senator Innes.
Yes.
Senator Ward.
Yes.
Senator Rishardi.
Yes.
Senator Fenton.
No.
Senator McGee.
Yes.
Senator Avar.
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald.
No.
Senator Reardon.
No.
Senator Murphy.
Yes.
Senator Pearl.
Yes.
Senator Sullivan.
Yes.
Senator Birdsell.
Yes.
Senator Long.
No.
Senator Perkins Coca.
No.
Senator Abbas.
Yes.
Senator Gannon.
Yes.
Senator Altschiller.
No.
And Senator Carson.
Yes.
15.
The ayes have it by a vote of 15 to 8, and the motion of ought to pass as amended is adopted, and the bill is ordered to third reading. I recognize Senator Rishardi.
Thank you, Madam President. Having voted on the prevailing side, I move to reconsider the following action taken by this body to rescind third reading, vote on the ought to pass with amendment, and vote on the floor amendment 1496.
Thank you. Senator Perkins Coca.
Recess, please, Madam President.
Sure. We will have a 2-minute recess.